Okay, pretty easy to see what occurred. All right, I think defensively played well enough to win the game. They held them to 344. They punted. I don't know how many times they punted, but 6 times. That's pretty good, right? Because that's a team that typically gets 10 play drives and runs it down your throat and just kind of marches forward, kick field goals, and score on you. They just chew up the clock. Hats off to those guys. Offensively, same deal. We had spurts of really good stuff. We had 2 turnovers, and we got a punch in the end zone once we get in the red. And unfortunately, one of those 2 turnovers may have been the difference in the game, right? So got to do better moving forward. Actually, we're not moving forward, but hopefully those guys coming back will learn some lessons from what they went through this year. And I know I certainly have, and everyone else has as well. And I wish everyone luck. And I've enjoyed this team. We took a big team photo in the hotel today that I'll probably have on my wall just to remind me how special a lot of these guys were, to be able to continuously show up every week and fight when, a lot of kids nowadays probably would have just laid down. And pretty special to watch that, even though we didn't get the outcome. It would have been nice to have finished it up like that, but life's not a fairy tale. Life's reality, and the reality is we didn't do enough to win, and we didn't, but we definitely fought, and I appreciate those guys. I always will. All right, questions?
Doug, does that kind of reflect on the message you gave to the team after in the locker room?
Yeah, a little bit. I just, I wished everybody luck and told them how much we appreciated and loved them, and hopefully there'll be something down the road they'll handle a whole lot better because of the stuff they went through here in life and in football. So, and not to take anything for granted, like when things are going well and you're winning games, man, you better enjoy every second of it because they're hard to come by, as you can see.
There's very little about this season that has been normal for you, but does it feel weird now that to know it's over?
I think it'll be a day or so before I'll probably let it sink in that way, but who knows what the future holds? We'll see how it goes. Just appreciate Chad Weiberg giving me the opportunity to do it, to choose me out of some pretty highly thought of coaches, and I got the opportunity to do it, and appreciate him and his leadership, and give me the opportunity to get a feeling for what it's like to do it, especially at this level. And it's a great experience and something that not very many people get to experience, So I appreciate that. All right.
As an alum and as a former player, what's your hope for this football program?
Yeah, I want to win that championship, and they've got a lot in place here to do so. And it's a great school. It's a great town. It's in a super location. Great academics. Facilities and infrastructure speaks for itself. And that's just they're gonna. Coach Morse has a good staff coming in here and a bunch of good guys, and he's a hell of a coach. I respect him immensely. I love what he does on offense, and I know they had a lot of success this year so far because of their offense, but I think their defense improved as well, and they did good on D. And they've had some injuries on defense too, but those guys will come in here and get it done. Our people here know what it takes to win. They're going to pick the right guy, and I think they did a great job picking Eric Morse. Is one of my favorite guys. He's an old ex-Texas Tech guy, air raid guy, and he throws the ball all over the place, and I love every bit of it. In fact, I cut up all his film every week for the last 2 years, and we talk occasionally, football-wise. So appreciate what he does. Looking forward to watching how they do here, and they got some work to do. Of course, they got to roll them sleeves up, which that's what we do as coaches. We roll our sleeves up and we go to work 24/7, man. We're like Whataburger. You know what I mean? So they'll come in here and get after it. Look forward to seeing how it goes, and I wish them all the best.
What was your reaction when you saw that they'd made that announcement?
I thought it was great. I kind of felt like that's probably the direction they're going to go, and obviously didn't know that for sure, but yeah, any kind of a guy that does what he does offensively, I'm going to enjoy watching what they do. I love what they do on offense. I think it's going to be really fun to watch, exciting, and I look forward to seeing it.
Like you said, they'll certainly bring in some of his own guys, but would you hope to maybe be on that staff?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. You know, the one of the biggest things that can bring a guy down is not to be wanted. You know what I mean? You know, you can work hard and do those things. If you're not wanted, it just makes you feel bad every day. But if they want me to stay here, man, I'd love to. But I'm not trying to position myself or promote myself forward. We'll see how it goes. If it happens that way, great. If it don't, then I'll be fine. I'll move on, and you know, that's what we do as coaches. We'll go find the next one, and just appreciate my time here again.
At any point during the last 9 games, did it ever surprise you that the buy-in level never really took
Yeah, it really did, because, you know, like Arizona, I think Houston, it looked kind of abysmal at times. It's like, you know, this thing may kind of take a nosedive here at some point, and it just didn't do it. And then towards the end of the year, I felt like the arrow was pointing upward, you know, in terms of strain and play. And I think what we did was we whittled it down with the guys that really cared about it, that loved the process, enjoyed the process, the guys that were willing to be coached. And we figured out who those, you know, 30 or 40 guys were. And we did you know, as a staff, did a good job, I think, preparing and keeping those guys in line and keeping them together.
20 seniors just played their last game, honored today. Their legacy, just football. What do you think? What would you say about that?
I'll tell you what, I feel kind of bad because I got them up there on the stage. We had a team meeting yesterday, I believe, and I went through the spiel of one day, you guys, this is going to be you standing up here, that sort of thing. And, you know, statistically speaking, probably 3 or 4 of them are going to get into camp, so about 90% of them are never going to lace them up again. And I feel kind of bad about it because I looked up here and one of the wide receivers was crying. And I think I made him cry, so I'm mad about that. But it's a harsh reality. I mean, you love it so much, you want to play forever, but for everyone that ever laces them up, it's got to end at some point. And I wish all those guys the best of luck. And I told them that if they ever need anything, you know, give me a call, and I'd do everything I could for them, help them any way I could. But for those seniors, you know, when it comes down to it and they start talking about wins and losses, they're probably not going to say much. But there's probably a lot to be said about this team and their teammates, you know, which is very important.
With the guys that, the younger guys that still have eligibility, did you talk to those guys about what comes next, or is that, do you have any advice for those guys?
You know what? I know this about players. They know a hell of a lot more than you think they do. And how you conduct yourself as a coach, they read that really, really fast. If you don't think those guys know what's going on, you better think again, because they know what's going on, especially with the social media that's out there these days. They know what's going on. So, anyway.
You praise Coach Bowen for the job he's done.
Yeah, I mean, I hired him. Of course I'm going to praise him, right? He's the greatest DC ever. No, that guy is all business, and he is a hell of a football coach. And I don't think, you know, if I'm Eric Morris, I might want to call him pretty quick because somebody's going to scoop him up, because he did a fabulous job. If you look at their numbers, the last 5, 6, 7 games, I mean, once they kind of got their system in place, I mean, that's winning defense, you know, and not without a ton of depth and those type of things. So my hat's off to him. He did a great job, and I'm kind of cheering for him, you know, professionally. So I hope that, you know, I think he'll have tons of opportunities. I think he's a good coach, good dude. And his son plays here, so there's another reason he'd probably want to stay here. But
Whenever you look back on this year, is there a moment that's going to stick out first whenever you think about your 2020 coaching year?
Halftime, Central Florida. We're winning by 14. So that was kind of our little tiny window of, holy crap, this is awesome, you know. And I thought we handled it as best we could. We told them about it's 0-0, it's a whole new game, you know, all the stuff you say when you're up at halftime. And I remember that moment because it felt like, yeah, you know what these guys deserved, and it felt like it felt good, you know, for 10 minutes. So probably that one.
Anything else? Thank you guys.
Enjoyed it, fellas. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Doug.
Yep.